Mike, I'm curious, if you could snap your fingers and change the world right now, what do you want to happen? What is the solution to this, or what is getting in the right direction of this? And would a regime change in Washington potentially get us there? Trump talks about the deep state and all of these actors that even a president has to fight against. And we saw him do that in his administration, fighting against the CIA. He's also fighting against a company like Google. Part of the times when I dream a little dream here as I doze off to sleep is that Trump comes into office and goes and cleans house at Google and opens up the Google files and makes them do everything that's right. Am I dreaming there? And what are your dreams for the future?
Well, on the AI side, I mean, you could literally have a law that essentially prohibits, the application of these AI weapons of mass deletion for purposes of First Amendment protected speech. You did have AI scan and ban of things like spam and child porn prior to the natural language processing, speech censorship era. There's definitely a role for automated censorship when it comes to non-speech related, content. But this is a weapon that, again, just to sort of put the bow on the last thing before getting to this new one, the Biden administration, just to show what the power of a regime change in Washington can do, is a great example from the AI censorship story. The U.S. government program providing the most financial subsidization of AI censorship technology is a program currently within our National Science Foundation, which is basically the civilian arm of the Pentagon's DARPA. And it's called the Convergence Accelerator Track F program. And this is a program that started under Trump. In 2019, the Trump White House wanted to put money from the National Science Foundation towards funding great leaps forward in technology on problems that had stumped scientists for decades. So Track A in this Convergence Accelerator program was for quantum technology development. And it's called a Convergence Accelerator because it's creating a multidisciplinary joint pool for example, in the quantum, physics space, in the quantum technology space, you have the physics people, you got the chemists, you've got the computer scientists, you got the rocket engineers, you have all these different teams of scientists who might not ordinarily speak to each other, all getting sort of common money to meet and try to solve the problem together to accelerate that one line of research. So Trump had 5 different lines of convergence accelerator programs, tracks A through E. It was not used for censorship during the Trump administration. The Biden administration gets in office and they said, you know what? Misinformation on the internet is also something we need a great leap forward in technology to be able to censor. So we are going to create a new program in the National Science Foundation called the Track F program for trust. For trust of information on the internet, which is basically anything that undermines trust in democratic institutions, which means democratic institutions are defined as the U.S. government, as mainstream media. So if you undermine faith in the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or CNN, you are undermining democratic institutions. And so just in a single calendar year, this Track F program gave $40 million to a dozen different AI censorship technology developers in order to have them fund, so like one of them was a company called WiseDex, which was creating fast, precise and comprehensive AI censorship technology for detecting dissent about COVID-19. This is in 2021. At the time, they were very concerned about people undermining public faith and confidence in vaccines. So WiseDex, was working with the University of Michigan, and it was this, sort of private entity, which was creating a whole Rolodex of terms about people talking about vaccines. Now they were qualified for $5.5 million in funding to create, these machine readable scripts to sell to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. A company called CourseCorrect got $5.5 million to create a dynamic digital dashboard of people who undermine public faith and confidence in the news media. So this is the government paying a private AI censorship firm to create a live heat map of people who undermined the perceived credibility of the New York Times. So this is the New York Times getting basically a $5.5 million AI censorship gargoyle to protect its reputation online. The Trump administration, if that happened under the Trump administration, like that, it could be killed, and it probably would be killed knowing the Trump administration at the executive level when it comes to that. The more difficult thing is on the legislative level, because Trump was pretty good about when things were identified to him and they could actually appreciate the magnitude of it, getting it killed at the agency level. The difficult thing was managing Congress. Trump spent the first 3 years of his term under the sword of Damocles from Bob Mueller, this Russiagate investigation, which required Trump to do things he did not want to do necessarily on foreign policy, because he needed the neocons in Congress to support the MAGA populist faction so that he wouldn't get indicted, if the neocons sided with the Democrats in the Russiagate affair. That pressure put on Trump induced him to do favors for people in Congress. I could very easily see that happening again, where even if Trump wants to get rid of some of the censorship stuff, if he's too reliant because of pressure put on him to the side of Congress that he does not have a great relationship with, but sometimes works with, he could be required to essentially keep some of that domestic censorship operations, even if he wants to get rid of it, just because he needs favors from them to stem off a special prosecutor. I've heard this from members of Congress myself, where they said, we didn't want to kill CISA funding. We didn't want to kill this funding for censorship things at DHS, but we needed to do favors for people in party leadership, under the Mitch McConnell, era. And so people went along even when they knew things were bad because of the pressures put on them, from the donor class. So it's a very complex story that way in terms of how we can win.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, it's Brian Rose, founder of the DeFi Academy. I've told you my 4-week crypto bootcamp is amazing, but don't take my word for it. This is what my students are saying.
The DeFi Academy was an amazing experience for me. It took me totally out of my comfort zone.
In this course, I was challenged, I was held accountable, and pushed to do things that honestly weren't always easy.
It's been phenomenal, and I can't believe we're already up on our 4 weeks. It has flown by.
Going through this DeFi accelerator by far was one of the best courses I've taken.
You do this course, you really get into the nitty-gritty of the activities that will make you comfortable with decentralized finance.
Thank you so much to Brian and everyone at London Real and the DeFi Academy for even putting together an amazing course like this.
Anybody else that wants to do it, please sign up. It is well worth the money.